I never asked for Westgrove House. That's what I keep telling myself as I stand before its looming Victorian facade, the late afternoon light casting long shadows over the tangled lawn, giving the place the look of something hiding beneath a shroud. My name is Eleanor Webb, and 3 weeks ago I was just your average 28-year-old graphic designer living in Boston. Then my great-aunt Agatha passed away, and my entire world shifted. I'd only met her twice, once when I was 7 and again 5 years ago at my father's funeral. Both times she struck me as distant and cold, her eyes more like searchlights than windows to a person. I still remember how she gripped my wrist that day and leaned in close, whispering, "The blood remembers Eleanor." The blood always remembers. It's quite something, isn't it? That memory echoes in my head as a voice beside me cuts through the silence. Mr. Blackwood, her solicitor, standing awkwardly in the overgrown path. He's frail with parchment-like skin and tiny wire-rimmed glasses. "I still don't understand why she left it to me," I mutter. "We were practically strangers." Mr. Blackwood's smile is professional, but hollow. Agatha was very deliberate. The house had to stay in the family. You were her only surviving blood relative. Something about the way he stresses blood makes my stomach twist. "I'll probably just sell it," I say. "This place gives me the creeps." He clears his throat gently. "That might not be possible. Not right away, at least." I glance at him, confused. "What do you mean? We should discuss it inside," he says, pulling an ornate brass key from his coat pocket. When I turn it in the lock, the mechanism clicks open without resistance. The door groans as it swings, revealing the dim, dust-scented interior. Walking into Westgrove House feels like stepping into a sealed memory. Thick velvet drapes shroud tall windows. White sheets conceal furniture like ghosts waiting in silence. Please give me a like and subscribe so I can be motivated to create more great videos. The air carries the scent of mothballs, old paper, and something else, faint and sweet like decaying flowers. Mr. Blackwood leads me into a sitting room, uncovers a high-backed chair, and gestures for me to sit. "Your great-aunt's will includes a rather unusual clause. You inherit the house and her estate, about $2 million, but only if you meet one condition." My breath catches. $2 million. That would change everything. "What's the condition?" "You must reside in Westgrove House for a full year. You may not be away for more than 72 consecutive hours. Fail to comply, and everything is transferred to the Blackwood Historical Society." I blink. "The Blackwood, your family's organization." He gives a tight nod. "My grandfather founded it. But I assure you I had no influence over this decision." I rise abruptly. "I can't just drop my life to live here for a year. It's insane." "The choice is yours," he says coolly. "But $2 million is no small matter." I rub my forehead. "Is that all? Just live here for a year?" "Almost." He retrieves a thick document from his briefcase and flips to a section marked in red. "There's one more stipulation, non-negotiable." Agatha was adamant. I lean over the paper. The clause is chilling in its simplicity. I must never under any circumstances be in the east wing of the house between midnight and 1 a.m. I glance at Mr. Blackwood, expecting a smirk, but he remains solemn. "What happens if I do?" I ask. The document doesn't say, just that it's critical. Did she explain why? She never told me. I stare at the clause. Part of me wants to say no, to walk away and leave this creepy mansion and all its conditions behind. But $2 million? I could pay off my debts. Start the design studio I've dreamed of, maybe even breathe for once. And really, how hard could it be to avoid one part of the house for a single hour each night? Fine, I say, taking the pen. I'll do it. As my name scrawls across the page, a cold prickle creeps up my spine. That night I sleep in Agatha's old room. I leave the lamp on, telling myself it's for convenience, not because the shadows seem to twitch when I'm not looking directly at them. My dreams are strange, a maze of corridors, endless doors, and the distant chime of a clock striking midnight. I jolt awake at 3:17 a.m., heart hammering. The lamp is off. Only moonlight slips through the curtains. Then I hear it. A soft, rhythmic creaking, like footsteps on old wood. I freeze. The sound grows louder. It's in the hall. "Hello," I whisper. No answer. The creaking stops outside my door. My breath catches as the doorknob turns slowly, almost imperceptibly. Then stillness. After a long, silent moment, the creaking resumes, fading down the hallway. I don't sleep again. In the morning, I scold myself. Old houses make noises settling floors. Creaky pipes drafts through ancient windows. Nothing supernatural. I spend the day airing rooms, uncovering furniture, making lists of repairs. It's nearly evening when I notice the one part of the house I haven't explored. The east wing. I've been avoiding it without realizing. I find myself standing at the threshold facing twin carved doors adorned with vines and leaves. They're shut, but not locked, as if daring me to enter. It's only 6 in the evening. The restriction starts at midnight. Surely it's harmless to take a peek. The doors glide open smoothly. The wing is dim, the heavy drapes muting what little light enters. I flip on the wall sconces. A warm yellow glow spills across worn wallpaper and cloth-covered furniture. This part of the house is like the rest bedrooms, parlors all stuck in another century. Nothing seems sinister. So why the strange claws? In a large chamber that looks like a study, I pause. Everything is so still, so ordinary. But the question gnaws at me: what exactly happens after midnight in the east wing of Westgrove House? Bookshelves covered every wall, packed with old leather-bound volumes that smelled of dust and time. A massive desk anchored the room, its surface cleared except for a brass lamp and a few scattered papers. As I turned to leave, a smaller, nondescript book caught my eye, wedged tightly between 2 imposing tomes. It had no title, just aged leather and a cracked spine. I pulled it free and flipped it open, revealing page after page of elegant handwriting in faded ink. A diary. The first entry was dated April 17th, 1887. Westgrove is finally complete. After 3 years of construction, I can at last bring Margaret and the children to our new home. The east wing is particularly fine, with views over the garden that will be spectacular once the landscaping is finished. I have set up my study there, where I can work undisturbed. The diary belonged to Jeremiah Westgrove, my great-great-great-grandfather and the man who built this house. I skimmed forward through the pages. Most were mundane notes about family life, social visits, the weather. But then the tone shifted. September 3rd, 1887. The dreams have begun again. I had hoped they would cease once we left England, but it seems they have followed me across the ocean. Last night I woke at precisely midnight to find myself standing in my study with no memory of getting there. Margaret insists I sleepwalk. I know better. There is a presence in that room, something watching. My fingers tightened around the diary as I turned the page. September 10th. It is no longer just sleepwalking. I hear voices in the study at night. Faint, unintelligible whispers. Margaret hears nothing. Last night I stayed awake, determined to witness whatever haunted me. At the stroke of midnight, the temperature dropped so suddenly I could see my breath. Then I saw it a shadow, where no shadow should be. It moved with purpose, detached from any object or source of light. I am not mad. There is something in this house. Something that crossed the sea with us. The entries became increasingly frantic. Jeremiah chronicled terrifying events, objects shifting on their own rotten odors in sealed rooms, ghostly figures appearing and vanishing in the east wing at midnight. The final entry chilled me to the bone. November 1st, 1887. I have made a grave error. The séance was meant to establish contact to find out what they want. But I have opened a door that will not close. These are not mere spirits. They are hungry. And I have fed them. Margaret and the children must flee Westgrove. I will stay behind and attempt to contain them. If I fail, may God forgive me. That was the end of the diary. I remembered that according to family history, Jeremiah died shortly after of brain fever, a vague term used at the time to describe any mental collapse. His wife and children fled the estate and never returned. The house, however, remained in the family and eventually landed in the hands of my great-aunt Agatha. A glance at my watch told me it was 7:30 p.m. Dusk had fallen and the study was growing darker. The corners seemed deeper now, more alive. Without hesitation, I returned the diary to the shelf, stepped into the hallway, and closed the double doors behind me with a solid click. That night, my dreams returned, twisting corridors, endless doors. But this time, every hallway led to the study in the east wing. In each version of the dream, a figure sat at the desk, with its back turned to me. I called out. It would begin to turn slowly, as if straining to face me. I always woke up before I could see its face. The next morning, I drove into the nearby town of Millfield, a modest place with old charm. The library was a red brick building with Millfield Public Library, established 1891, carved above its arched entrance. Inside the librarian, an older woman with silver hair looked up from her desk. "Good morning," she said kindly. "Don't think I've seen you before." "I just moved into Westgrove House," I said. Her smile flickered. "Agatha Webb's niece, great-niece, technically. I'm Eleanor Webb." "Martha Crane," she said, offering a polite nod. "I knew your aunt." "Not well," she kept to herself. "I was hoping to learn more about the house," I said. "Do you have any local history materials?" She hesitated before rising. "We've got town records and newspaper archives. Some local histories, too. Follow me." She led me to a small, quiet room filled with dusty volumes and storage boxes. As she turned to go, she paused. "Are you staying at Westgrove alone?" "Yes." "Why?" "No reason. It's just a lot of house for one person." I settled in and lost myself in research. I found the original architectural plans for Westgrove filed in 1884. The east wing was part of the original blueprint. Nothing in the documentation hinted at why it would later be considered dangerous. But then, in the November 5th, 1887 issue of the Millfield Gazette, I found an obituary. Jeremiah Westgrove, deceased November 2nd, one day after the final diary entry. The next clue lay in the October 30th edition. A small column described police being called to the estate after reports of disturbances in the east wing, screams, strange lights. Jeremiah had told them it was a séance gone wrong, just like he'd written. 4 months later, I uncovered a tragic article from March 1888, caretaker found dead in Westgrove House. Thomas Collins, aged 36, had been discovered in the East Wing study, his face frozen in terror. Official cause: heart failure. No history of cardiac issues. I found 6 more such cases in the following decades. All deaths or vanishings in the East Wing, always at night. The final report was in 1943, the year Agatha inherited the estate. By the time I stepped out of the archives, the sun was already dipping low. Martha looked up from her desk. "Find what you needed?" she asked. "Some of it," I said. Then I added, "Do you know about any strange occurrences at Westgrove, deaths or disappearances?" Her expression shifted to one of caution. There are stories, she said slowly. Most locals won't go near it after dark. What kind of stories? They say something was brought into that house during one of Jeremiah's seances. Something that wakes at midnight. Something hungry. I nodded slowly. But those stories, they're just folklore, right? Perhaps she replied, her tone softer. But the deaths were real. I read the articles, I said. 7 people in 50 years, all in the same wing, all at night. She didn't respond directly. Instead, she asked, "Did your great-aunt ever mention any of it to you? Why she chose to stay there alone?" I thought of the will. The midnight rule, the warnings. No, we weren't close. Martha nodded. Agatha Webb was strange, but she wasn't foolish. People around here feared her a little. She knew how to manage that house. Manage it? How do you mean? Martha glanced at the wall clock. "It's getting late," she said quietly. "You should head back before dark. That night, I make sure to lock the double doors to the east wing." The iron key turns with a heavy final clunk, and I stand there for a second longer than I should, staring at the doors, as if expecting them to challenge me. I tell myself it's just a precaution, a way to ease my nerves, not because I believe in ghosts or what might be waiting beyond them. Still, I sleep with the lamp on. At 11:45 p.m., I wake abruptly. The red digits on the clock burn into my vision. I don't know what stirred me until I hear it, a faint rhythmic tapping like fingernails gently rapping on wood. It's coming from the double doors. Tap, tap, tap. A pause, then again. Tap, tap, tap. My entire body goes rigid. It's the wind, I insist to myself. Just the wind. Old houses have their quirks, but the sound persists faster now, almost agitated. Tap, 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 tap. At 11:55, it stops. The silence that follows feels alive, as if the house itself is holding its breath. Then I hear it, a soft click, unmistakable. The sound of a key turning. The lock I turned myself not 2 hours ago. I hear the faint groan of hinges, the drag of wood on carpet. The doors are opening. I should move, should find something to defend myself with, should run. But I can't. My body won't listen. I stare at the clock. 11:58. Footsteps echo down the hall, heavy and slow, too deliberate to be human. They move toward my bedroom, growing louder. Then silence. 11:59. The footsteps stop outside my door. I watch the handle frozen, but it doesn't turn. Just silence. Then as the clock flips to midnight, a voice hisses into my ear, too close to be possible. "Eleanor." I scream and leap out of bed, slamming into the far wall. The room is empty. The door's shut, but I feel it again, cold like dead fingers brushing my skin. "Come to the study," the voice whispers again, everywhere and nowhere. "We've been waiting for you." The lamp beside me flickers, then goes out. The only light left is the clock's crimson glow. 12:01. I run, flinging the door open, sprinting through the hallway. I don't stop to think. I just need to get out. But as I reach the grand staircase, I freeze. Below me, shadows move, not cast by any light, but pulsing on their own, swirling solid, impenetrable. They block the front door. I back away, breath coming in ragged gasps. "Yes, Eleanor." The voice comes again from the walls, the ceiling, the floor. "Come to us. You belong here." I turn and flee in the opposite direction through the dark halls, searching for another way out. I find the kitchen. The windows are bare, moonlight pouring in. A back door. I rush to it. Locked. My fingers fumble with the deadbolt. The whispers are growing louder behind me. The bolt slides open at last, and I burst outside into the cold night. I don't stop running until I reach my car, hands trembling as I shove the key into the ignition. The engine roars to life, and I race down the driveway without looking back. I find a motel on the edge of Millfield and collapse into the bed of a brightly lit room. The buzz of fluorescent bulbs, almost comforting. Alone with my thoughts, the fear seems absurd. Did I really run screaming from my own house? Was it stress, imagination, a dream? Maybe. But I don't go back that night. When sunlight wakes me, the fear feels like something that happened to someone else. If I want the inheritance, I need to face it. The solution is simple. Follow the rules. Stay out of the East Wing at midnight. That's all. I check out of the motel and drive back to town for supplies. Groceries, cleaning tools, and new locks for the double doors. I even buy sage from a crystal shop on impulse. The woman behind the counter peers at me with a knowing look. Westgrove needs more than sage honey, she says, but doesn't explain. Back at the house, everything is exactly as I left it. The kitchen door's still open, just like I remembered. The house is quiet in the daylight dust drifting lazily through golden beams of sun. I keep busy, clean, organize, install the new lock. But I don't open the double doors. Not today. That night I check every window and door, fasten the new bolt, and set up a white noise machine with ocean sounds beside my bed. Still, I don't sleep easily. I lie awake listening. But nothing happens. No tapping, no whispers. Midnight passes without incident. I sleep. The following days bring a routine. I explore more of the house, avoiding the East Wing, and begin to work again. I meet a few locals in town, curious but polite. No one mentions the house directly, though I notice their glances. At night I lock the doors, switch on the white noise, and try to sleep. Sometimes I hear things. Creaks, groans, distant sighs. But nothing like that first night, until the 7th. I wake to silence. The white noise machine is off, yet the clock still glows. 11:55 p.m. It hasn't lost power. It's been turned off. I hear music, soft and distant, curling through the silence like a memory. A phonograph. The melody is slow, classical aching. The sound is coming from the East Wing. The study. I should stay in bed. Block it out. Wait until 1 a.m. But I don't. I rise barefoot and walk down the hall. A warm, flickering light leaks out from beneath the double doors. Candles, maybe firelight. I reach for the bolt. It's already unlocked. The key still sits in my drawer. I crack the door open. The hallway is bathed in golden candlelight, utterly still. The music grows louder, and beneath it, voices, conversations, laughter. A gathering. A party. I step inside. The air is heavy, warm. I move down the hall toward the study. The voices become clearer. English, but old-fashioned formal. I reach the door. It's ajar. The light from within is rich and golden. I push it open and stare. The study is restored, elegant, glowing with firelight. The guests are dressed for a different century, men in tailcoats, women in corseted gowns, their glasses brimming with amber drink. None of them see me, or so I think. The music plays from the phonograph in the corner. And by the fireplace stands Jeremiah Westgrove, exactly as he looked in the photographs I found. But that's impossible. He's been dead for over a century. The clock on the mantel chimes midnight, and in unison the guests stop talking. They turn to me, all of them. Their eyes completely black pits of endless dark. Jeremiah smiles. His teeth are too sharp. Too many. "Eleanor," he says, the same voice I heard that first night. "You finally joined us. We've been waiting so long. The other guests? No, not guests. Not people," I realize, with mounting horror, begin to move toward me. Their motions are broken, unnatural, like marionettes manipulated by hands that have forgotten how joints work. They speak in unison now, a wave of dissonant whispers that crashes over me. Blood of our blood. The last Westgrove. The doorway must be opened. Midnight is the thinning time. I stagger backward, the air too thick to scream. My voice caught somewhere between terror and disbelief. As I retreat, their forms flicker. One moment they're elegant men and women in evening wear from a bygone century. The next they're gaunt figures with too many limbs, their skin paper thin and slick with shadows of organs writhing beneath. They spill into the hallway behind me, becoming more fluid, more dangerous, less tethered to human shape. I turn and run, their whispers following me, rising into a roar. I reach the double doors and slam them shut behind me, only to fumble for a key I never brought with me. A moment later, something massive collides with the other side of the doors, warping the wood inward. I abandon the idea of securing it and flee toward the front hall, but I don't get far. I skid to a stop as the entrance fills with the same shadows I saw that first night, only now. They move with intent, coalescing into forms like those from the study, their limbs stretching unnaturally as they reach for me with gnarled fingers like tree roots. I'm surrounded. The last chime of midnight echoes through the house, and the shadows surge forward. I bolt for the stairs, leaping up 2 steps at a time. Behind me, I hear the double doors explode open, the sickening sound of splintered wood, followed by a blast of freezing air. The figures pour in, both the whispering things from the study and the crawling shadows from the hall. On the second floor, I sprint down the corridor, frantically testing doors. Locked, locked, locked. One swings open, a small bathroom, barely large enough to turn around in. I slam the door shut, slide the old bolt into place, and brace against it, just as something slams into it from the other side. The door trembles in its frame. The whispers return more urgent now, pressed up against the very wood. Open the door, Eleanor. We only want to talk. We've been so lonely. Just until 1. Then we'll let you go. Promise. Blood of our blood. The bolt begins to slide back. I grab it, forcing it in place with all my strength, feeling the pressure push against me as though the door itself is breathing. Then nothing. The pressure vanishes. The whispers fall silent. Somewhere deep in the house, a single chime rings out. 1 o'clock. I wait, heart hammering in my chest, breath shallow and hot. Still nothing. I finally peek through the keyhole. The hallway is quiet again, bathed in soft light from the small nightlight I had plugged in earlier. Everything looks normal. Shaking, I unlock the door and step out. The house is silent now. The kind of silence only an old house knows, settling beams a distant creak. Whatever was hunting me has gone for now. I make my way downstairs. The double doors to the east wing are whole. No signs of the violent impact I heard. No cracks, no damage. The bolt I had installed is secure. The key still in the drawer where I left it. Had I hallucinated everything? Dreamed it? But I remember too much. I remember the smell of candle wax, the firelight in the study, the black eyes of every guest. I know it happened. As soon as the library opens, I drive into town. Martha is at the front desk, and her eyes widen when she sees me. Eleanor, you look... She stops herself. Are you okay? I need to know more, I say. About what happens at midnight, about Jeremiah Westgrove. She studies me, then simply nods. Come to my office. Her office is cramped and cluttered, a room behind the desk piled with books and yellowing paper. She closes the door and gestures for me to sit. You saw something, she says flatly. I nod. In the east wing, at midnight. People or things that looked like people. And Jeremiah Westgrove was there. Martha sighs. I was afraid this would start again. The cycle? What cycle, I ask? What's happening in that house? She gives me a long look. How much do you know about your family history? Why Jeremiah came to America? I shake my head. Just that he was some businessman from England. Martha pulls a leather-bound book from a drawer. This isn't from the library. It's been in my family for generations. My great-great-grandfather was Thomas Collins. The name hits me. The caretaker who died in the house. She nods. Before that, he was Jeremiah's valet in England. He knew secrets that were never made public. She opens the book, revealing pages of handwritten notes. The Westgroves weren't just wealthy. They were part of a secret society, occultists, who believed they could reach entities from beyond. Not ghosts. Something much older. Creatures that exist between worlds. My skin crawls. The seance he wrote about in his diary. The one that went wrong. Martha nods. Those entities they want in. But to fully enter our world, they need a doorway and a gatekeeper of Westgrove blood to let them through. They said that I whisper. Blood of our blood. The last Westgrove. She turns a page, revealing a circular symbol filled with strange characters. This is the seal of opening. Jeremiah tried to flee scandal after one of their rituals caused multiple deaths. But the things they contacted followed him, grew stronger, found ways to reach through. The east wing was built to exact specifications, a weak spot in the barrier. At midnight, the veil thins. I remember the phrase, midnight is the thinning time. Martha's expression hardens. Yes, that's when they can reach through most powerfully. Your Aunt Agatha knew. She studied the occult too, but not for power. She contained them, used symbols, words kept the rituals from being completed. But she was only one person. And now you're the last. What happens if they succeed, I ask? If they cross over, they'll consume everything. It would start in Millfield and spread across the country, across the world. They feed on life-thought identity. We'd be left as husks. It's impossible. Ridiculous. Yet I've seen too much now to deny it. So what do? I have to stay in the house for the next year or lose the estate. Martha looks at me solemn. Then you do what Agatha did. You learn. You fight. You hold the door shut. They surround me in a tightening ring, silent this time, watching their black eyes, absorbing every flicker of candlelight, without reflection. I force myself not to look at them, not to listen to the whispers curling in the corners of the room. I drop to my knees and begin the incantation, my voice trembling at first, but growing stronger with every word. The language feels unnatural in my mouth, not meant for human speech. But it comes easier than expected, like something I already knew deep down, as if it's buried in my blood. The moment I begin, the entities react. Some snarl, others wail in tones too high for the ear, but not the brain. The candle flames elongate, twisting violently, as if fighting to escape. A gust of wind lashes through the room, though every window is shut. The guests know the things pretending to be guests, advance stepping just to the edge of the ritual circle. One of them reaches forward, its hand passing through the air and stopping at an invisible barrier. The chalk symbols are holding. For now, I continue pacing my words carefully, reciting the lines Thomas transcribed more than a century ago. When I reach the final stanza, I pull the small silver knife from the pouch at my side. My hands shake, but I press the blade to my palm and draw a line across the skin. It stings hot and sharp, but manageable. Blood wells quickly. I hold my hand over the circle's center and let the drops fall onto the main sigil drawn on the floor. As soon as the blood touches the chalk, the symbols flare to life, with a pulsing red-gold glow. The entire house seems to groan, the floor shuddering beneath me as the space itself rebels. The entities scream now, no longer hiding behind human faces. Their illusions ripple and collapse, revealing elongated limbs, jawless mouths, faces twisted into impossible geometries. One lunges at the circle, striking the barrier with a force that sends me sliding back a few inches. But the circle holds. I chant the final line. The wind stops. The candles gutter but remain lit. And the things freeze. They hiss and twist and shimmer, caught mid-step, mid-shift. The chalk glows brighter, brighter, until it's blinding. The circle flashes white, and then silence. The pressure in the air vanishes. The heat, the unnatural cold, all of it gone. I collapse onto my knees, breath heaving, heart pounding so loudly it's all I can hear. The study is quiet again. The guests are gone. The sigils lie smudged and scattered now, the ritual complete, the doorway sealed. I sit there until my body stops shaking. Eventually, I stagger to my feet and step into the hallway. The east wing feels different. Not lighter or warmer, but empty. Like an old battlefield long after the war is over. I close the study door and lock it, not because I think it still holds power, but because it's habit now. A symbolic gesture. A line drawn. Back in my room, I bandage my hand. The cut isn't deep, but it will scar. A reminder of what I did, of what I stopped. The next morning, I return to the library. Martha is shelving books when I walk in. She turns her expression anxious until she sees me. Her eyes scan mine. You did it. I nod. Her shoulders sag with relief, as if she's been holding tension in her body for generations. They're gone. I think so, I say. I finish the ritual. The circle held. Martha leads me to her office again. We sit in silence for a long time. You've done more than anyone in your family ever could, she says finally. Agatha would be proud. Thomas too. I hope so. She studies me. You're not leaving, are you? I think about it. I could. I've fulfilled the clause. I've stayed long enough. The threat is gone. I could sell the house, take the money, disappear. But the truth is, Westgrove doesn't scare me anymore. It's mine now. No, I say. I think I'll stay. Martha smiles softly. Outside, the sky is blue, cloudless. A new season begins. The house waits. But for once, it's quiet. At peace. And so am I. They surround me in a perfect circle, sealing me off from the chalk ritual I so painstakingly prepared. You cannot stop what was set in motion generations ago, says the one wearing my father's face. Jeremiah Westgrove opened the door. Only a Westgrove can fully open it. But any blood will sustain us until then. The figures advance. Their disguises flicker, their forms melting between human and something else, limbs too long, joints bending in wrong directions, skin that pulses with unnatural movement. I clutch the silver knife in my hand, the final piece of the ritual. I need to reach the circle. I need to speak the words. But I can't get past them. The clock chimes its 12th note. Midnight. The barrier between worlds is now at its thinnest. The creatures surge forward, reaching with hands not made for this reality. In desperation, I slash my palm with the blade. Pain blossoms instantly, but I raise my voice above the chaos. Blood of the bloodline, I shout. Remembering the line from Thomas's book, blood of the summoner freely given to close what was opened. I fling my bleeding hand outward, and blood sprays across several of the entities. Where it touches them, they scream, a piercing alien shriek that rattles my skull. Their forms falter, lose coherence. I dive through the momentary gap, hitting the floor hard beside the ritual circle. I press my bleeding palm into the center sigil and begin the incantation. The words are strange, heavy on my tongue, but I speak them with force. The creatures regain form and slam into the barrier, now visible as a shimmering field of light surrounding the ritual. They claw their faces, warping with rage. The one pretending to be my father snarls its mask, dropping entirely. Its mouth splits sideways. Its voice is no longer his, but many layered atop one another. You will fail. The door wants to open. Reality wants to be devoured. This is the order. But I don't stop. My voice rises over theirs. The candle flames stretch impossibly high, brushing the ceiling, casting monstrous shadows across the room. Wind swirls in from nowhere, tearing at the furniture. But the chalk remains untouched. The barrier holds. I shout the final line of the ritual. The wind erupts into a roaring vortex. The entities wail, dragged backward toward the circle. They claw at each other, the air, the floor, anything to resist. The vortex twists tighter, brighter, until the room is nothing but spinning light and sound. One creature, the last to resist, lunges through the collapsing spiral. Its face is a churning mass of mouths and eyes and things I have no name for. We will return it, hisses. The blood remembers. It always remembers. The vortex screams. Then silence. The candles extinguish in unison. Darkness falls. I collapse to the floor, gasping for breath. My palm throbs. My heart races. But I am alive. I turn on my phone flashlight. The chalk is gone. The candles are stubs. Only one thing remains, a spiral burned into the study wall, faintly smoking. I check my watch. 1:01 a.m. The ritual lasted exactly 1 hour. I wrap my bleeding hand and leave the east wing. The hallway is still. The house is still. Days pass. I wait. But nothing returns. No voices, no shadows, no tapping. The night is silent. Slowly, hope begins to return. I clean the house. I live in it. I begin to make it my own. I renovate room by room, blending history with modernity. I make friends in town. I work. I laugh. I live. The east wing is just another part of the house now. I turn the study into an office. I hang a painting over the spiral burn. The house becomes home. The year passes. I sit across from Mr. Blackwood in his office. "Congratulations, Ms. Webb," he says. "You've fulfilled all the conditions of your great-aunt's will. The house and the estate are fully yours." He slides papers across the desk. I sign them. He reaches into a drawer and pulls out a yellowed envelope. My name written on it in Agatha's familiar spidery script. She instructed this be given to you only now. I nod and take it. After I leave, I open the envelope in my car. The letter inside is short handwritten. "Eleanor, if you are reading this, you have survived the year. I hope you found the truth and found a way to end it. But be warned, they are patient. They are cunning. What you close, another may open. The blood will always be the key. Do not abandon the house. Do not sell it. Keep it in the family. Keep the family safe from what lies beyond the veil. The blood remembers. It always remembers." Agatha Webb. I reread it twice, then fold it and return it to the envelope. When I return to Westgrove, I notice something I never did before. A spiral carved in the stone above the main door. Identical to the one in the study. A ward. A warning. A memory. I step inside. The house breathes around me. Familiar. Still, the shadows stretch in the fading light. But they are just shadows now. Harmless. For now, the door remains closed, and I, Eleanor Webb, last of the Westgrove line, intend to keep it that way. The blood remembers, and now so do I. Thank you all very much for watching my video until the end. I sincerely appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.